Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and today I want to take a look at Mira and Jackal. I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys asking which one you should buy first with your renown because it's a very valuable resource and you don't want to spend it on the wrong one, and so I figured I'd give my impressions on these two new characters. And so to start things off, I want to take a look at Jackal. Now, originally, I thought Jackal was going to be overpowered because of his gadgets. Being able to scan someone's footprints, let alone just being able to see where their footprints are, sounded overpowered. And while his gadget is good, and we'll get to that here in a second, the reason why I think that he is one of the best operators in the game right now is because of his assault rifle. His assault rifle has no weakness. In my opinion, it's basically perfect. It has a high rounds per minute, one of the highest RPMs out of all the assault rifles, and then on top of that, each bullet does an incredible amount of damage. With this in combination, you are going to be able to destroy every single person that you come across. You do not need to get headshots with this assault rifle. As long as you are somewhat accurate, the people in front of you are going to melt because of its damage outputs. On top of that, you're hardly left vulnerable because of the reload time. It reloads really quickly compared to most guns in this game, so even if you do go through all of your rounds, you're going to be right back into the action very quickly. But probably the best aspect of it is that it is laser beam-like accurate. You would assume a gun with this amount of damage output would have a substantial amount of recoil. It'd be very unwieldy, and it would be hard to line headshots. That is not the case whatsoever. I have no problem going full auto and keeping my bullets exactly where I want them to be. And so alongside everything else, it's also a headshot machine. And then the final cherry on top is that it has 30 rounds in its magazine. And so alongside having a great damage, manageable recoil, fast reload time, it also has the rounds to take out multiple targets. This gun is perfect. I can't think of a downside of why you would want to use this gun over anything else in the game. I would have said that the FAMAS was arguably the best weapon in Rainbow Six Siege, but I think Jackal's assault rifle now is going to reign supreme. Now, as for his gadget, I assumed that it was going to be overpowered. I thought that you're going to be able to scan enemies, identify where they were, and just destroy their cupcakes. Like, there was going to be no way they'd be able to hide from you, and it would be GG. And while that does happen every once in a while, I'm finding that I rely on it less than I thought I would, and I'm just droning out the objectives. Now, maybe I just need to put more time into it. Maybe I just need to use his gadget more to get comfortable with it. But I find that if I use it too often, I'm left staring at the ground, and then the enemy rounds the corner, and they get an easy headshot against me. I think another reason why I'm a little reluctant to use his gadget, or at least lean on it more and rely on it, is that if the enemy has a Caveira and I don't realize that they have a Cav, that could be a death sentence. If I walk into a room assuming that it's clear because I don't see any footsteps, the Cav just kind of walks around the corner and gets a nice headshot on me, that's going to be pretty embarrassing. And so I still find that I'm droning with him, and it can be a very good supplementary way of gathering information. It can be a great way of just kind of figuring out where the enemy is located around the objective. It's nowhere near as overpowered as I first thought it was going to be. And so in general, I truly do believe that Jackal is one of the best operators in the game right now, and you shouldn't be afraid or hesitant to pick him up with renown. He's got an amazing assault rifle. Honestly, I think it's god tier, one of the best, and his gadget is fantastic. You put 2 and 2 together, that makes for a phenomenal operator. Now, as for Mira, unlike Jackal, who deters people from roaming around, her job is to make it a hell of a lot harder for the offensive team to get onto the objective. Now, I know that some people aren't too thrilled with her and even would go as far to say that she's useless because of the insane amount of bugs associated with it. Some people are exploiting and opening up the window from the opposite side by meleeing the canister. That shouldn't be possible. Apparently, it's going to be fixed in the upcoming patch, but right now, that is a big issue. Some people have even reported that when the window is up, they've been meleeed from the other side. When you're able to avoid those situations, though, I truly do believe that her gadget is one of the strongest ones that you can have on defense. When I'm on offense and I see a Mira window on a reinforced wall, and then directly next to that wall is an open, destructible wall, I'm not gonna push that objective from that angle. Like, it completely deters me. They've locked down that room now because I'm not gonna enter into that room. I know a Mira or someone is peering through that window, and either they're just gonna run around the corner and just shoot me through the doorway, or they're gonna get sneaky, and what you guys have hopefully seen throughout today's video, they're just gonna shoot me through that destructible wall, and I'm not even gonna realize the bullets are gonna come from that angle. It is terrifying to fight against a solid Mira. On the other side though, when you are playing as Mira and you do get a kill through a wall because of the assistance of your gadget, it is one of the most satisfying things that you can do in Siege, and surprisingly, it's not all that difficult. As long as you have a good game sense, as long as you are at least somewhat accurate, you can line up these headshots fairly consistently, and it makes her one of the more enjoyable, or I find one of the more enjoyable new operators that they've added into the game. Now, one thing that is worth noting is that if you're fighting against an enemy Twitch, she is going to be the bane of your existence. Twitch is easily the biggest counter to Mira right now. If you're able to get your drone on the objective and zap that canister once, it opens up the mirror, it opens up that window and gives you essentially a Habana hole. That Twitch drone went from just more of a nuisance and taking out different gadgets around the map, like Jaeger's trophy system, maybe taking out a mute jammer here and there, to opening up a hole in a reinforced wall. That is incredibly powerful. And so if you are playing as Mira and they do have a Twitch, or vice versa, if you know that the enemy has been playing really well with a Mira, you might want to play as Twitch because she really counters this character. And so because of this dynamic, it's hard to say if Mira is going to be viable in the long term. Right now, people are still experimenting. They don't know exactly how to counter her, but in a couple of weeks, maybe everyone realizes that she's not all that great. Maybe everyone will just play as Twitch and make her obsolete. And so while right now I love Mira, I think her gadget is a lot of fun, it's unique and different, and it's changing the way that we play the game, I think it might be a little bit too early to tell if she is going to be a must pick, or at least a very strong pick in the future. Now, as for her weapon, the Vector, it is a joy to use. One of the great things about extraordinarily high RPM guns in Siege, and this has been true since the very beginning, and the Vector falls in this category, is that they are awesome at lining up headshots. As long as you are somewhat accurate and you're aiming a little bit around the enemy's head, the gun is pretty much going to do all the work for you. I think this is the reason why a lot of people enjoyed using the SMG-11 with the ACOG scope. You get your crosshairs somewhat near the enemy's face, you let a lot of bullets fly, and as long as one of them lands, and there's going to be a lot of them flying in that area, as long as one of them hits the enemy's face, you're going to get that guaranteed kill, and that's the same for the Vector. Now, a downside of this weapon, and it is a pretty big downside, is that it doesn't deal a lot of damage at medium to long range. Its damage drops off fairly significantly. So if you're fighting against a 3 armored target or even a 2 armored target, if you're not lining up those headshots, you're probably going to have to put all 26 rounds into that character, and if you're not very accurate, and it can be a little unruly, this doesn't have a crazy amount of recoil, but if they're moving around a lot and you miss a majority of your shots, you could be left fairly vulnerable because of its low damage if you're not lining up those headshots. All in all, though, I still highly recommend that you pick up Mira. I don't think you can go wrong with picking up either of these characters. I think the best equivalent of this was the Dustline DLC when they introduced Blackbeard and Valkyrie. Blackbeard and Valkyrie were awesome when they released, and I think that's true for both these two characters. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on these two new operators. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you think that they're very powerful? Are you disappointed by them? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.